Classes will be held as normal today for students across the metro area. That's after a number of threats were made to several schools in the past several days, including some in Jefferson Parish.
And joining us now with more on how to keep schools safe and what the community can do to avert school problems like the ones we saw in Jefferson Parish, Sheriff Joe Lopinto. Thank you for coming in. First of all, the threats you saw at Grace King and several other schools over this past week, how do you differentiate what are some kids doing a really stupid prank and someone who is a real danger?
Well, what we did on yesterday's events, it depends on what the context was. Some of the children were just talking to another child within a small group. It was reported. We handled those through a juvenile arrest report, a status offense. Other ones that took pictures and actually shared it through social media, we took that as the intentional communication of terrorizing other people. There's a statute in Louisiana that probably both of the situations would apply to, but because the extra step was taken to share it on social media, to send it out, we thought it was an appropriate charge to terrorizing.
And terrorizing, and young people should know this, and their parents need to know this, it carries some very stiff penalties.
It is 0 to 15 years in hard labor, felony charge here in Louisiana. But, you know, words have consequences, especially in this day and age. You know, I think we have 50,000 public school students that went to school in Jefferson Parish, and 50,000 of them came home safe yesterday. But how many were disrupted? And it's hard enough to get children to do homework today, much less, you know, go to an atmosphere like that, worried about if your school's going to get shot up and come out with a learning environment.
But the fact that over the past week or so, since the school shooting in Florida, we have seen all across this country thousands of these things. Are they going on all the time, or is law enforcement just being more cognizant of it now?
Well, you know, anytime you have an event like Florida, you're going to have more events, copycat type events over a period of time. The difference is today is social media. We know about it. You know, 20 years ago, you'd have these copycat events, but guess what? It may make the local newspaper, but we wouldn't know about it here in Louisiana. Now, because of the 24-hour live streaming, the satellite feeds, the ability to share something on Facebook 10,000 times before anybody else takes the opportunity to even open it up, we know about it so much more. So we're much more cognizant of what's happening around us.
And we do say that if you see something, say something.
Sure.
But you want them to do what?
Well, I want them to report it to us, not to Snapchat. Snapchat is not the police. What you're doing in the situations where you put it on Instagram or Snapchat, it ends up having a problem that it alerts 50,000 people. They start to get into a panic over something that may not be credible, or we may have already handled it. You know, and that was the case on Thursday's event at Helen Cox. It was from an event that happened on Tuesday that was already handled.
Well, and there's kind of a breakdown of this in some cases. I mean, in Florida, there were early warning signs that were totally overlooked. There was a guard at that school who stood outside and did not go in the building.
Yeah, and I mean, that's an embarrassment from my standpoint. I mean, we have resource officers in every single school, every high school in Jefferson Parish.
Are they armed?
Oh, yes, they're armed. Absolutely, they're armed. And they are there every day to build relationships with those students, to hopefully recognize problems before they occur. But look, school children these days have problems. We understand that. They have psychological problems just like the regular population. And you always have to try to balance, because many of them go through school that are being bullied, that have problems, don't become school shooters. Now that's a trend that, you know, we look at these major events and we try to pin back over what are the triggering points. But the reality of it is those type of triggering points occur in numerous students over that campus. You know, some are worse than others.
It's just hard to pick out the one that's going to turn out to be the killer.
That's always the case.
All right. Well, Sheriff, one final word to the parents and the students who are getting ready for school today.
You know, I'm always an optimist. Enjoy your day at school. Go to school today. It's Friday. You know, we've you know, think about the millions of kids that go to school every single day and come home safe. You know, that's still the society we live in.
All right, Sheriff
Thank you very much for joining us.
The mass shooting in Florida last week was the latest senseless tragedy in this country, this time